Wonderful. Okay, so we will get started this evening with the words of Hine Matov. How wonderful it is to be together in our holy community.
Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Wonderful. We are so grateful to be able to be together in holy community where we can both express joy that we feel and that we can hold our hearts together for moments that feel incredibly painful. There is a lot that makes us feel like there maybe isn't hope in the world. And in the same place, we can express that, and we can express joy and blessings and gratitude for that which we do have, including one another. So we will bring Shabbat in officially with the lighting of the Shabbat candles, and it is my pleasure to invite Jill Mallison to light the Shabbat candles with us.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Let's join together in singing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you. And we continue with words of Psalms that, oh my goodness, what did I do? Sorry about that. Okay, we continue with words of Psalms that help us to get into the Shabbat spirit. I believe that we are, there we go. There we go. We are singing from Psalm 96.
I'm just going to look at that sunset photo for a minute. ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירעם הים ומלוא, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירעם הים ומלוא. יה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, יה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, יה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, יה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, יה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירעם הים ומלוא, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירעם הים ומלוא. יה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, יה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, יה-לה-לה-לה, יה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, יה-לה-לה-לה-לה, יה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, יה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, יה-לה-לה-לה-לה-לה, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירעם הים ומלוא, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירעם הים ומלוא.
One of the beautiful things about Jewish weddings is that we actually don't just start from the place where they're walking down the aisle and then we, do you take this man? Do you take this woman? Maybe there's some walking around each other, or some stepping on a glass. That all happens in one ceremony, but it's actually not the first thing that happens in traditional Jewish weddings. There's a whole set of mode setting that takes place beforehand, where people sing with their friends, where they greet one another, where psalms are sung and reflection is done. And there's all of these moments, these opportunities to soak in that this is really happening. This is where we are in the world. And so too do we do this with Shabbat. We don't just jump right in and, get right into the eating of the challah and the grape juice, or we don't just jump into the Amidah. We get into the mood with Kabbalat Shabbat. And one of the ways that we do that is through singing Lecha Dodi, where we speak about Shabbat as though she is the bride. And we are in the moment where we say, oh my gosh, we are here. This is the moment. So we join together in this communal, oh my goodness, and sing Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולנתילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, יהי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת פלח. Those who wish to rise and body your spirit, please do so. גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
We remain standing for the Baruch, either standing or lifting ourselves up in stature or in spirit.
Yada lai lai lai, yada lai lai lai, la la 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 lai lai lai, yada lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? La 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yada lai lai lai, yada lai lai lai, la la 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 lai lai lai. Ma'ariv Aravim, the mixing of the day and the night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Light becomes day, day turns to night. roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreyom valayla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, vechoshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
It's my pleasure to invite Nathaniel to read this reading for us.
Oh, okay. Hope you can see me. Thank you very much. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said. And a light blinded, we saw that inner and outer worlds were one as you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back, climbed again, your Sinai of life. Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch
Shem
Kivod
Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Thank you, Nathaniel.
Thank you.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Take it, we're going to go straight to Bichamocha, am I right? Okay, here we go. Crossing the sea. Bichamocha va'elim Adonai, Bichamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Bichamocha va'elim Adonai, Bichamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Tehilot Oseh Velech Adonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed Malchutecha ra'uvanecha Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Zeli Anu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha netar b'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha netar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef ve'eleh. Nora tehilot osef ve'eleh. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
In a moment that feels like there is incredible peace needed and protection, we take a moment to pray that we have a shelter of peace, that we are able to live protected, and that we do not have to hear of people fearing for their lives, fleeing for their lives, whether it is fleeing from wildfires, whether it is fleeing from a country that is experiencing a lot of violence, whether it's hurricanes or flooding or whatever it is. We want to hear of a time where protection is just the assumption. So before reading Hashkivenu this evening, we read a poem by Hakim Karwan, who's an Afghani youth poet, who wrote this poem, If Peace Comes, as part of an initiative called Poems for Peace. If peace comes, life will be extremely beautiful when peace comes. Everyone will plant beautiful pine and palm trees. From these sprawling deserts, we will make gardens again. We will return to our lands and sow green when peace comes. Once again, every child in my country will have a pen in their hand. We will take up pens and books and become forgivers. We are tired of this war. We search for peace. We will gather together as brothers. We continue with the words of Hashkivenu.
Ken yehi ratzon. Excuse me a moment. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomereinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomereinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomereinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, העמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, להעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, לחיים, לחיים.
Amen. So before we begin our tefillah, our core part of our service, the part that's so important we don't really need another name for it besides the word that means prayer, we take a moment to pause and think about what are the prayers that we need to say this evening. What are the prayers that are on our hearts that we won't feel quite right if we don't just give a moment to nod to them or to sit with them or to say them aloud even. Let's take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And we continue with Adonai Svatai. Please rise in body or spirit.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Adonai, שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibur v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezra Tzara. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato Lishenei afar, Micha mocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech meimit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom yehallelujah selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Kidush.
Take a few moments, if you have a prayer book near you or with you, to say the words in there or in your own heart, the words you may have thought of just before we began this tefillah. If peace comes, may it be so. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim le'olam. V'tov einecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
We pause for a moment just to sit in Shabbat silence. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Ose shalom Roma, Ose Shalom, Im Roma, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Hu Ya'aseh,
yaseh shalom Alinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Imroma. Oh, say shalom. Imroma. Hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom. Alinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one bring peace down. May the one bring peace down. May the one bring peace down, bring peace down.
It is now time to share some words of wisdom from the Torah. This evening we are reading from Parashat Ki Tavo, which literally means when you arrive or when you get there. We are getting toward the end of Deuteronomy, which means that Simchat Torah is right around the corner. However, in the story of Am Yisrael, as they were sitting in the desert, all they knew is that they had been sitting in a weeks-long speech session, like 5 different speeches back to back to back from Moses. And if you've ever sat in one of those speeches where you felt like you might just die sitting right there, like it was never going to end, the Israelites had no idea when they were going to, or if they were going to get into the land of Israel. They'd heard they were going to get there, but talk is cheap. We'll see if we get there. And this parsha starts off with not if you get there, but when you get there, when you arrive, this is what you are to do. And so the answer is when you arrive and you enter into a land that is flowing with milk and honey, where you will be an agricultural people, where you will plant and you will harvest and you will grow to, this will be your home, rooted into the ground. The first thing that you will do is when you will harvest, you will take your first fruits and you will take them as an offering to God to show gratitude. And when you do so, you will say the words, Arami Oved Avi. My father was a wandering Aramean, or my father was a fugitive from Aram. Who this father was, what does that mean? They all didn't have the same father. And the Torah commentators throughout the centuries were like, what does this mean? Arami Oved Avi. Who is this Avi that we're talking about, and why are we saying this? This might sound familiar because we actually also say this during Passover, during the Passover Seder, as we recall the different wanderings of our people. Specifically during Passover, we're thinking about exiting from Egypt, but we also say Arami Oved Avi. So among some of the commentators who were trying to answer these questions, Abraham Meir ibn Ezra, or some people just call him Ibn Ezra for short. He's an 11th century Sephardi rabbinic commentator, so from Sfarad, from the Spain area. He decided that the person who was the Avi, who was the father who we were speaking of, was Jacob, which, if we think about it, Jacob, his other name is Israel, people of Israel. And what he said to build up on this, like, why would we even say this? Why does this matter? He says, its import is that I did not inherit the land from my father, for my father was poor when he came to Aram. When he fled from his brother Esau, he was a stranger in Egypt. Chizkuni, or Hezekiah ben Manoah, who was a 13th century French rabbi and Torah commentator, built off of what Ibn Ezra said by saying that what this really means is Yaakov, my forefather, was a wandering Aramean while he was serving Lavan, so his father-in-law, in Aram. He was no better than a wandering Aramean. It wasn't so much that he himself was actually the wandering Aramean, but he was essentially on the same level because he had no house or land of his own, and he was not even a resident in that country. When we read about the wandering Aramean during Passover and also right now, we have to ask ourselves, why are we reminding ourselves of this? Why do we say this over and over again multiple times throughout the year? And the answer is twofold. There is actually a Hasidic master who tells the story that each person needs to have 2 notes in each pocket. We're assuming that these are male pants pockets because we all know that most women's pants don't have real pockets, but in each pocket we have either the world was made for me, the world was made, and in the other pocket, I am but dust and ashes. So when we're in a spot where we are filled with abundance and blessing, we remind ourselves that it's not just about us, that there are those who are suffering, and even those in our past or even ourselves have suffered. Each of us has a story where we are connected in some way, whether it's through living on the same planet or in our family line, who has no home, who has no land of their own, who has been wandering. As I mentioned previously, right now we are in a moment where many people are in their own way wandering Arameans, whether from the wildfires, from flooding, from the ongoing crisis in Afghanistan. There are even those who have been without homes for months, years, or even generations. And during those moments when we have such abundance and blessing, we have to remind ourselves that Arami Oved Avi, that my father was a wandering Aramean, and we need to take from our first fruits. We need to take from the abundance that we have, and we need to share with others who are not currently experiencing that abundance on their own. So that's part 1. Part 2, for those who are currently experiencing a wandering, whether it's physical wandering, spiritual wandering, whatever it is that's going on, we remind ourselves that we had ancestors who had been wandering and they found a home. And we too will find a place where we are destined to be, and we will have a home where we feel safe and loved and cared for. and we cannot speak in the language of if, rather when we arrive. Ki tavo, when we arrive, we will give thanks, we will donate from our abundance, and we will remind ourselves to be grateful. Ken Yehiratzon, may this be God's will. We continue with thinking of those who are in need of healing, healing of body, healing of spirit. If you are thinking of someone at this moment, please type their names in the chat, or feel free to say their names aloud to yourselves, or hold their names in your heart.
שברח אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yisheberach imotenu mekor haberacha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Amen. We continue with the beginning of our concluding prayers, starting with the words of Alinu, which says that it is upon us, it is our responsibility to find something within us that praises God. So please rise in body or spirit and find some piece of gratitude that you can hold on to as we sing praise to God.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני על כל הארץ. ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
It's a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be, and oh, to lose. For a thing of fools, this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. As we read the names of those who have passed during different periods of mourning, please rise in body or spirit as your loved one's name is read. This evening, we are in the period of Shiv'ah, the 7-day period since burial, for Alexandra Lee Turetsky, daughter of Matt Turetsky and Jessica Alsofrom. We are in the period of Shloshim, the 30 days after burial for Barry Plotkin, remembered by Jill Mallison. On this Shabbat, we remember those whose yahrzeit occurred this past week. Jack Berenbaum, brother of Babe King. David Burstein, father of Marcy Roth. Paul Katz, stepfather of Phyllis Domino. Dr. Albert Scheinbaum, remembered by Nancy Weisenfeld. Mark Levine, husband of Deborah Reisman. For all those names that we've said aloud and those that we keep in our hearts, we say, Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. As a community, we rise in body or spirit to join our mourners in saying the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbi. Ba'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim alinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Alinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Zichronam livracha. May each of their memories be for a blessing.
Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום. שלום עלינו ועל כל יושבי תבל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום. שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
It's now my pleasure to invite up Michelle Eisenbruck to share our announcements this evening.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Join us tomorrow evening for Slichot, Havdalah, and Learn on Zoom at 7:30 p.m. And join us again next week, Friday, September 3rd, on Zoom for our Shabbat service at 7 o'clock p.m. Links to both services can be found in the weekly email. High Holiday Prayer Book pickup times are this Sunday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., Wednesday from 1 to 3 p.m., and Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. in the Temple Breezeway. The High Holiday information page on the website is your up-to-date place for service times and locations. Check there for the full schedule, including an in-person opportunity to hear the shofar. You'll also find details about prayer book pickup, the Yizkor Memorial Book, and opportunities for time in front of the Ark. We will also be offering opportunities to reserve time in the Sukkah. More details on that coming soon. TBT is committed to standing with Afghan refugee families arriving in our community. Please visit our social action page for information on and direct links to volunteering your time, donating to relief funds, and making purchases from Amazon wish lists. WTBT is still accepting forms for the annual High Holy Day greeting through September 1st, this Wednesday. See the weekly for a link to the details and submit your family's greetings before it's too late. The Social Action Committee is once again partnering with the Alameda County Community Food Bank for our annual High Holy Day food drive. The food drive is all virtual again this year and will go from August 30th through September 27th. You'll be able to donate via a customized link on the High Holiday information page on our website. Every dollar donated provides 2 meals for those in need in our community. Help us to exceed our goal to raise $4,000. And lastly, a reminder that the California gubernatorial election is Tuesday, September 14th. We've just updated our social action page with crucial voting, ballot drop-off, and ballot tracking information. So be sure to take a look for all the details. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Our Temple Beth Torah community has a long-standing tradition of being involved in the goings-on in our community, and there are ample opportunities to participate, whether it's through voting, whether it's donating to causes relating to the Afghan refugees that will be coming in. Whatever it is that you are going to do, it is a blessing to the world, and we encourage you to do so. Also, with some of the things that you'll be able to donate for incoming Afghani community members who will soon be our neighbors, you can drop off some of the goods to the temple when you are picking up your machzor for the high holidays. So you can get 2 things done at once. You can both get your prayer paraphernalia, and you can also do the mitzvah of dropping off much needed goods. So with that, we are going to continue with a family blessing. If you are nearby to family, I encourage you to reach out to them, hold their hands, look at them like you love them or something. And we will say a blessing together. May God bless you and keep you. May God shine God's face upon you and be gracious to you. May God's face turn to you and grant you peace. Can you hear Ratzon? May this be God's will, to which we say, Amen.
Amen.
And we bring in more Shabbat sweetness with Kidush. If you are near some wine and you would like to drink it, or grape juice, or a sweet beverage of your choosing, please quickly go grab it. You have 3.4 seconds, and then we will get started with singing the prayer for Kidush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu vacharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim. And we continue with the motzi. If you have some challah or some tasty flour-made items nearby, I encourage you to grab them. And we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon.
Amen.
This evening we close with Psalm 27, which is traditionally sung in the month before Rosh Hashanah, in the month of Elul. The words are Kaveh el Adonai chazak ve'ametz libecha ve'kaveh el Adonai. Look to Adonai, be strong and of good courage. O look to Adonai.
This psalm has a lot in it. It's a good psalm to accompany us all through Elul and all the way until the end of Sukkot. This is the very last verse of the psalm. The verse right before it sort of trails off without a complete thought. It says, Luleh ha'emati lirot betuv Adonai be'eretz chayim. And people translate that luleh differently. It's normally translated as if not. I know that Robert Alter, though, goes ahead and translated it as almost as an if only. If only I had had trust to see the goodness of God in the land of the living. Kaveh el Adonai, from the word tikva, from the word for hope. It's not enough just to hope. We have to actually act. But acting with hope is a good combination, and I've found this one of a good deal of solace in these difficult and often frightening times. I should say also I wanted to acknowledge Ilana Jagoda K, who wrote the tune for Oseh Shalom, Craig Tubman, who wrote the tune for Yismichu Hashemayim, and this setting is by another local person, Brian Yosef Schechter Brooks, who is an East Bay musician and sweet person. Kaveh, kaveh, kaveh el Adonai, kaveh, kaveh, Kahavel Adonai, Kahavel Adonai, Chazak v'yametz libecha, Kahavel Adonai. So most of it is Kaveh, Kaveh, Kaveh Adonai. Kaveh, Kaveh, Kaveh Adonai, Kaveh, Kaveh. Kahavel Adonai, Kahavel Adonai, Chazak v'yametz libecha, v'kahavel Adonai. Kahavel, kahavel, kahavel Adonai, kahavel, kahavel. Kahavel Adonai, Kahavel Adonai, Chazak v'yametz libecha, v'kahavel Adonai. Kahavel, 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 kahavel. Chazak v'yametz libecha, v'kahavel Adonai. Kahavel, kahavel, kahavel Adonai. Kahavel, kahavel, kahavel Adonai. Kahavel Adonai. Chazak v'yametz libecha, v'kahavel Adonai.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
That was great.